the smoke-filled clouds of the 303, all the way down to the 505. This is the Dro Bro Show with Remo Vinci, Grimx, and Soul Doja. Yeah, the Dro Bro Show.
Right now.
And what's up,
Welcome,
everybody?
everybody.
What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Vicious Remo Vinci, and we are back with episode 10 of the Dro Bro Show. And I'm back as always with my fellow Dro Bros, Soul Doja and Grimx. Say what's up, fellas?
What up? So Doja, about to take this dab.
How's it going, guys? So today we got a special episode for you, and we wanted to talk about Cinco de Mayo since it's coming up, and there's a lot that go on around here.
Hell yeah, we love Cinco. Tell them what's up, Skins.
So one thing that is a misconception is that Cinco de Mayo is not the celebration of the Mexican Independence Day. The actual Mexican Independence Day is September 16th. And Cinco de Mayo is not really a celebration, but more of it commemorates a single battle that took place in 1861. Benito Juarez, a leader and a member of the indigenous Zapotec tribe, was elected president of Mexico. And at the time, the country was in financial ruin after years of internal strife, and the new president was forced to default on debt payments to European governments. So what that's basically saying is at the time that took place 20 years after the Mexican-American War, where basically people who were living in California and Texas literally overnight went to bed and woke up the next morning, and now you're an American citizen. And in some instances where people say that I didn't cross the border crossed us, that's very true with this whole situation, because this is when we acquired territories from Mexico. So Mexico owed a lot of money to a lot of countries for the war. I mean, war, supplies, weapons, all of these things that cost money. So the president basically asked for a 2-year lien on his loan, and Britain, Spain, and France went to war with Mexico. So what generally takes place is that soon Britain and Spain realize that France is in this war so that they can secure some property for their own means and start to colonize the New World. So Britain and Spain, they end up backing out of the war. And so this all takes place at Veracruz, Mexico, when they're demanding the repayment. And France at the time is ruled by Napoleon, but not Napoleon Bonaparte, his nephew. He's actually Napoleon III.
It wasn't Napoleon Dynamite?
So
Dynamite.
he basically he went in with 6,000 troops after Britain and Spain had left his side. He went in with 6,000 troops against 2,000 loyal men of Mexico. And these weren't like actual soldiers. They're farmers who were wielding machetes and things of that nature. So 2,000 men versus 6,000. And it's in Puebla, a small town in east central Mexico. And so what happens is the Mexicans defeat the French, and they cause them to retreat. Now, obviously, French had taken over Mexico for many years, and it was under dictatorship. So in 1862, on May 5th, is when they won the battle at Puebla. And starting in 1863, Mexican immigrants started to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, basically. And this was so that they could generate money and send it back to Mexico. At the time, we were going through our civil war. And this is important because, again, like I stated before, war costs money. So, with that being said, these people that are living in America, now that it's America, they are mining in the West, mining gold. And after 1848, with the 48ers turning into the 49ers, when the 49ers came in, these people basically pushed the Mexican immigrants out. Okay, like there was people from Mexico, Peru, Chile, because they had already been mining for gold down in South America, so they already had these tools and ways of doing it better. So they had first claim to the land, and obviously when these more Anglo-Europeans start coming in, they're like, we don't like this crap, and why do you guys get first dibs? So they start pushing these people out. So their morale with the Mexican people is very low. So when this battle actually takes place and they win by a landslide, so the French lose over 500 men, and the Mexican army or Mexican volunteers basically, uh, they lose less than 100. And this boosts Mexican people's morale. And even though there's people here working in the West that are from Chile and Peru, seeing this happen, it boosts all of the Latino culture. Okay. And at this point, they're like, this symbolizes something for all of us. So that's why they all participated, and they would do festival type activities. And like for women, whoever could generate the most money became queen of the day, and things of that nature. So, even though it wasn't their independence, which actually took place September 16th, 1810, and this battle took place May 5th, 1862, it's very important because it boosted morale of the Mexican people. It brought them back because France, Napoleon, he came after Mexico because it was a weak country at the time because they owed a lot of money to a lot of countries. They had just lost a war with America. So he felt he would capitalize on that, but he had other intentions. His intentions were to attack us through California and align with the Confederates. France was upset with America because we decided to ask for Britain's help all throughout our time being here when France supported us the whole time. And because of this, France was upset. So they were willing to take the side of the Confederates to help us lose so they could gain territories in the New World. And again, like I stated, his plan was to come through California, which at the time was under the influence of Mexico, but then due to the Mexican American War, America acquired it. So his plan was still to go through, and just imagine what a different world it would be had those Mexican army not defeated the French there at Puebla, even though, like I said, for decades they held on and they put in a dictator named Maximilian. His last name is, but he was a German immigrant.
Did the French lose a lot of wars?
Yeah. But they also won. But, war changed so much. Before there were rules to war, and you had to march a certain way. You had to wait till you see the whites of the eyes. It was very much like a game, like a chess game. And now, once you put in guerrilla warfare, things change. You
Hey,
had modern technology.
do you think those guys, you know how they're outnumbered? They probably studied the 300 strategy, the Spartan,
Yeah, funneling them in.
and they studied the art of war. They were like, all right, we're gonna do these tactics, and we will whoop ass.
So, I mean, going to what it actually means for Cinco de Mayo is that in Mexico, it's really only celebrated in the state of Puebla, where this battle took place, because people just commemorate it. It's more celebrated here in America, which I guess was my point about this being a whole different thing, with France not being able to come through and align with the Confederates, and Mexico allowing themselves to gain a boost in their ego and their morale as a people. It was important because this now became a Mexican American tradition. It's celebrated more here in America than it is in Mexico. Los Angeles being the largest, but it's a celebration of Mexican history. And again, these people, they don't live in Mexico anymore because, again, the border crossed them. And at this point, they're like, well, we may not live in our homeland, but we can still send money back to help our homeland. And that way we could be a part of the war. We could be a part of the effort by sending money back.
I think it's interesting to know that the history of it all has more like Chicano roots than anything, because that's kind of what it's always been to me growing up in like my family and how the culture has been here in Denver, where it's been more of a Chicano thing, like a Mexican American thing, not necessarily like a Mexican thing. So to know all the facts behind it and to know how true that actually is kind of cool actually to know that,
I,
because
I
it's always been like stressed about celebrating the culture and celebrating where we came from, but this is where we are, you know.
yeah, like I only knew about it like from living out there in Denver. The big party downtown, like not the whole history at all about it. It was like, wow, it's just a weekend apart. And then I always thought it was the Independence Day, and that's actually on the September 16th. I'm like,
Yeah,
what the? But yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
kind of
know,
funny.
I know. That I remember growing up, like having like actual like Mexican friends, like their families were, straight from Mexico, and they would kind of be hating on the whole Cinco de Mayo thing because of how glorified it was here. You know what I mean? And how for them it
I,
wasn't really anything like that at all. So I remember that being a weird dynamic too. With
Yeah.
between the Mexicans and Mexican Americans, it was always kind of a weird little bit of a
it
tension
all
there.
it always is though. It's kind of weird how that works.
Yeah.
I heard in one of the videos I was listening to for research today and I'm not seeing it here. And let me cite what I'm looking at. I'm actually looking at history.com right now. But on one of the videos I listened to today, um, the guy was saying that during this time when they started doing this repetitively year after year to fund Mexico, and again, like I said, the French, they were there for at least a decade. Um, you could tell where the people came from by the ones that were promoting changing this event to the Mexican Independence Day versus those that wanted to keep it on Cinco de Mayo, because the ones who wanted to keep it on Cinco de Mayo were the ones who are now the Mexican Americans, versus the people who wanted to change it to the Independence Day were people who were coming from Mexico and South America.
Yeah. And you know, Doja kind of touched on it a second ago about our celebration. I'm sure we'll get more into it, here in a minute. But I remember as a kid, Doge, uh, the first, I don't know if it was like this always, but I remember being in a way different spot down on like South Santa Fe. And that's where they would do
Yeah,
um, the
they
celebration, the whole thing before it was at Civic Center Park.
they'd block off like the roads.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then
Well,
and then
remember
like
when we
and
all
then
first started hanging out, they do the cruises down Federal.
oh, I wanted to talk about that shit too. Yeah, like that was like, see, that was like when I first moved out to Denver. I was probably like about 13, but that was like the culture that was introduced to me. Like I remember listening, bumping Pure Devotion. My older cousin showing me like, yeah, this is it. Always chilling over there on the west side off Federal and shit. But cruising on the Sundays, the lowriders. Yeah, yeah, and it was on like by Santa Fe, right? Is that where you're talking about, Remo?
The original celebrations. I don't know if that's how it always was. I just remember one of our distant cousins, one of our relatives or something was working for the Spanish radio station Canción Mexicana at the time. Maybe he was a little bit older than that. I can't remember. But they used to sponsor it or be a part of it or something. And I remember him being some kind of a host or a DJ or something, or an MC, I guess, you know what I mean? Something like that for the actual celebration. And I remember being a little ass kid being down there, bro, and walking on Santa Fe. And I remember it being way different than what it is now. I mean, very much the same, but still very different too.
It was it was
Okay.
more hood.
And
Definitely
a lot
back.
smaller. I mean, now that it's at, you know, downtown at Civic Center Park, like it's huge. You know, that thing goes for days.
So I do want to correct what I stated before that the French were there for a decade. So after the Mexican victory, it was short-lived, and a year later, the French sent 30,000 troops and were able to defeat the Mexican army and capture Mexico City. That's where they installed Emperor Maximilian as the ruler of Mexico. The French victory was short-lived because Americans supported Mexico with assistance to expel the French. And upon the conclusion of the American Civil War, Napoleon III, facing a persistent Mexican guerrilla resistance, the threat of war with Prussia, and the prospect of serious scrap with the United States, retreated from Mexico starting in 1866. The Mexicans recaptured Mexico City, and Maximilian was apprehended and executed along with his Mexican generals Miguel Miramon, Tomas Meja, Camacho in Serra de las Campanas, uh, Querétaro. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. On June 5th, 1867, Benito Juarez entered Mexico City, where he installed a new government organizing his administration.
This is the Dro Bro Show, y'all. It's the only time you're gonna see a Korean American speaking Spanglish.
Now, the funny thing is that also I heard this story that so the Confederates actually wanted to go through and attack the Union from Los Angeles area, or where was it? Not more the Bay Area. So they were coming through Texas, I think San Antonio, trying to come up through, but they ran into a group of Union soldiers coming from Nevada and Colorado. And this is by pure chance. So they were able to stop this Confederate, um, basically trying to come back and circle around and blindside the Union armies. And by chance, they were just on a recon scout mission and basically ran into these Confederates.
What luck, huh?
How funny, they're from Colorado and Nevada.
Damn Coloradans.
So, what was your first experience, Grim, with Cinco?
I grew up in Fort Morgan for the most part, I guess, because from 10 on, I was in Fort Morgan. Before that, I was in Dodge City, Kansas, which
Mm-hmm.
was, you know, so I'd like to take this as a jumping point for a second. For me, there was a lot of racism associated to this holiday because, of course, coming from Dodge City, Kansas, there's a lot of racism there. It was, I mean, at the time, obviously, I grew up in the 80s, so it's a different time, different perspectives. It takes almost a decade for a generational belief to die off. But in the city, there was predominantly Hispanic people and white people, right? And because of that, there was a big divide and it was a big deal. It's basically why we ended up moving out here to Colorado because it was starting to become more like a race thing. And they were putting curfews where people had to be in their homes at 8 because this guy was killed, ran over by some people that were illegal. So people started coming to our house shooting with guns. My mom didn't like that. She didn't want us kids growing up around it. So her and my dad started looking at places here in Colorado. My parents transferred out here, basically moved out here when I was 10. So for me, growing up, I'm first generation in this country. My mom came from Seoul, South Korea. And so I didn't grow up with a lot of Asian people it was mostly either Hispanic or white people, and I always kind of gravitated more towards other people that were minorities because at the time, there was a lot of racism. I know times are changing. I don't think racism has totally gone away, but with people and the way that I guess society's becoming more sensitive to certain things, it has become less, but it's not gone away. So, our kids don't have to deal with it in the same light that we used to have to deal with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, I brought up the cruises because growing up in Fort Morgan, that's what they do too. They cruise up and down Main Street. And it's basically the same when they do it here at Federal. So that always resonated with me.
So,
Those were fun days on Sunday.
mhm.
Hey, and remember that radio station would play that smooth 107.5, I think the smooth Sundays or something, 2 hour special.
Yeah.
That's
when the
back when the radios. That was back when radio stations were good.
that's what I was just saying.
Oh
So,
shit.
so Grim, you gravitated more towards like a Hispanic um, type of culture and stuff living in Morgan, I'm assuming. So, um, you had just gotten thrown into this little melting pot here and mixed in with it and just
Hey,
kind
that's
of kind of
Well, I
went,
mean,
huh?
look at you guys. You guys are both from Hispanic descent, and my
what?
wife
No,
is
who told you
Hispanic
that?
descent. So,
I'm,
of
I'm
course,
freaking.
I
I'm
towards
from.
it. My sister. It just became something. When and my mom used to explain it to me. And mind you, I don't have anything against any race. I'm friends with people of all colors. But when you're a kid and you're made fun of and you're called these negative names, and people start to gravitate with each other, right? You start to have this common ground that you resonate with, and then that's how you generally become friends. I grew up with that a lot, and I even was called derogatory names for Hispanics, Asians, all the things. So I guess that's how I ended up gravitating towards it. It's
No, that's good. That's great. I'm glad you shared that with us because I think it's kind of important to know now, like everything evolves. Everything grows with time, right? So our Cinco de Mayo celebration, obviously, we all kind of know that it has this Mexican roots and whatnot, but I kind of feel like it celebrates everything like that. You know what I mean? Like we're just our cultures. And just so happens to be the Latin and Spanish type cultures, at that time. But since you brought it up, I think like it is definitely like this welcoming thing too, you know what I mean, where it embraces all cultures in it. So I think it's kind of cool.
You said it earlier, Remo. I was gonna say it earlier, when you were talking Grim. But like that was one thing that I always loved when I moved to Denver is like it's a giant melting pot of different cultures, races, like everything. I learned like so much culture and like swag, like just from chilling from all acts of people. Like I have this homie too, Mr. Meaner. Uh, he's black, but he's been always around Mexicans, so he's like Mexican, Like I'm like I don't even consider you black, fool. I'm like you're Mexican. You know who he is, Remo. He's also goes by Denver Devil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and
Look,
that's what I always but that's what I always liked and respect about. Like I mean, look at right there on Federal and Alameda. It's like you could get acupuncture, Chinese massage, you could get the new was it new Saigon bowls in there. There's all kinds of places that you could eat right there. It's miniature Chinatown. Like
so
you know.
you
yeah,
guys melting pot, and I always felt And it is like this even here. And I was trying to think, but there are times I do see the melting pot. But for the most part, I feel it's this way, and it's this way in the whole U.S. Is that instead of being a melting pot where everything blended together and we're all this one blended culture, instead I see us as more like a salad bowl where we're all separate but all together, if that makes sense. So it's like separate ingredients put together, but we're not completely mixed yet. And that's why I mean, like, that I feel that racism still exists. It's just, it's gotten better, but it's not completely non existent. And because of that, that's why I feel we're not a melting pot yet.
I like that
Yeah.
analogy of the salad bowl. I think that's an excellent way of putting it because it's very true. Like we are still very much solid in our own identities, but we are mixed in pretty well, you know. And I think that we're on the right path. I think that a lot of things have been on the positive upswing for decades now, you know. But obviously, there are still issues. There are things that we still have to overcome, and we will. You know, as a people, we will eventually.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
Fuck.
so like, do you guys remember um, the first time you went to any of like the celebrations downtown or anywhere else?
I I remember it was when Cut and Crew they performed a big show over there like on Santa Fe or it might have been Federal at that Chubby's or something. I don't know, but that was probably like my first one. But I was probably about I don't know 30 something years ago.
I think you were with us the time that I really remember the most. And I don't know, it's been a few, it's been like, but I mean, Remo, you were there, my brother, Antone, Maya, Ash, and I think maybe Soul and his wife Sarah at the time. But remember, we would cruise every year on Federal at least once.
Yeah.
Try to go up and down it at least once, and
But
I remember
that's all you
that.
could do once.
I was
Shit, it
thinking
was
the
like
same thing. By the time you get down and back up, that's about it.
Yeah,
already 4 or 5 hours went by fucking just going
Dude,
on the one circle. You,
it's
you
cool.
spend you spend 30 minutes just trying to turn back around and go back down to the other side.
Some of the
Yeah.
cars,
Hey,
the lowrider cars and the older cars. You know, I love the Hispanic culture. And if you guys didn't know, and I watched an episode of Vice on it, how the Japanese, they're all into the Latino culture. And because one of the
oh
guys
yeah.
brought up the original Latino culture, like the homie style and all of that stuff back in the 60s or whatever. He ended up going out to Japan and setting up a car garage out there. So that actually took hold and it became a big thing. And so now a lot of Japanese copy Mexican culture there. And in the interview, the lady had asked one of the girls who's dressed like a chola, do you think that this is a negative thing that you're taking another people's culture and you're making it your own? And she's like, no, because everybody does it everywhere. I mean, if you look at everything that's most things that are made, they come from Asia. So she said that people are taking things from Asia all the time, even like samurai culture, geishas, things like that. And she said, so why is it such a big deal that they're not doing it to make fun of it? They're doing it because they love the culture, they love the style, they love the music, they love the
Yeah, they
car.
identify with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They identify with it. You know, that's awesome. I like that. That's pretty cool. I was gonna say something too. You brought up like the lowriders, and you were talking about the cars. That's one of the coolest things for me. You know, every year is I look forward to seeing all the different car clubs come out and show off all their stuff. You know what I mean? Show what they got. The lowrider bikes, the cool ass little hopping competitions, or when
Hey,
they when they have their cool displays and they're all just kind of like, you know, hooked up and tricked out. That's just badass.
hey, where they have the little model cars with the remote control and they're all
Yeah.
you know, hitting those switches and shit too. Like fuck.
That's
Like
super dope.
it's cool too. Like for who those that haven't been there to Denver, we're speaking of some huge festival, and they're selling everything though. But you could buy all kinds of cool Mexican culture stuff and food. The
That's where I
tacos.
got my lokes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
food. Yeah,
The
and
food is amazing.
the people who
Hey.
have real lowriders that have like 16 switches and stuff. Just for those of you who don't know, that costs like almost $1,000 in batteries just to get that thing running.
Yeah, it's a very expensive thing.
That is not a cheap hobby. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and they break them, they bust them all the times in competitions. Hey, do you guys remember? I wanted to bring it up too. I keep forgetting. I remember Jumbo's. Jumbo's was the car wash on Federal, where that was like the best of the best people would kick it there with
The best of
their
the
that
best.
they were showing off the lowriders. Only the top notch homies rolled there.
Hell yeah.
So
Cause that shit's not there no more.
Cinco de Mayo is this May. It's also the same, or is this Saturday? I meant.
I was gonna
And
say it's every May, my brother.
it's also the same day as Backlash, which we'll get into in a moment. But I wanted to bring up here the digital event guide here for Denver. So for those of you that do want to attend on Saturday, community parade Saturday, 11 a.m. to 12. Then they got the Chihuahua races starting at noon. The
What the fuck?
children's area Saturday and Sunday off of Broadway and south of 14th Avenue.
I don't want to hear no more.
It's got the lowrider car show is going to be Saturday and Sunday along Colfax from Bannock to Broadway. There's a taco eating contest on Sunday starting
What?
at 2 p.m. The contest stage south of the Seal Pond
Remo,
Center Park.
Remo, you better
And then
go and
their
compete.
entertainment is Saturday and Sunday.
Remo, you better go and
Ooh.
eat tacos for me too.
And
I have faith. You are the best of the best.
exclusive VIP tasting on Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. at Civic Center Park by the Seal Pond.
So I got a question now that you mentioned it. When it comes to like competitive eating, is marijuana considered a performance enhancing drug?
No,
Okay,
no, it's like a cigarette.
hungrier, it doesn't make your stomach bigger, right? So you ever heard
Oh,
that
see?
saying that your eyes were bigger than your stomach was?
Yeah.
Same thing I feel like with the weed. Just because you're hungrier doesn't mean that your stomach's bigger.
I always say that my high
What?
was bigger than my stomach.
Uh, dude, after I do a sick workout, I could fucking eat a ton too. I'm like, man,
Oh,
And
and
you put all
actually,
the weight right back on.
huh?
hopefully this comes through to my homie Raymond Ace Friday night. He's gonna open up for Zach Abeda, and they do comedy. It's gonna be at the Humor Underground, 333 Curtis Street, Denver, Colorado. $10 at the door. Food and drinks. Show starts at 7. I bring it up because they also allow smoking. So if you got your own carts, even flower, they'll allow you.
Oh, that's tight. Hey, fucking I was fucking with the comedy scene before I moved out of there. That's a fun thing to go see some stand up comedy.
That's dope. And since we're plugging them, they should hook it up with some free tickets.
And then I wanted to get him on the show tonight since we had the other guest
Yeah.
with the show. He has to, get his set ready and stuff. So, and it was short notice.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll plan it out, get it ready to go. But with all of that being said, I think this is a perfect segue to get into our Drillman of the Week. What do y'all think?
Fuck. Wait. I'm fucking too high for this shit.
He's been in a daze. He's been in a daze for the last 5 minutes. You don't even know.
What?
Like
What I
medicine
mean,
man.
the last. Wait, what are we on? 10? Last 9 episodes.
I got long bottom boogie for the flower, and I got I think it's Hazeberry Dream on my cart.
Well, your boy, I got ice cream cake for the flower this week, and my cart, which has all been brought to you by my people over at Skunked, right? And they're going to be one of our soon-to-be sponsors. So shout out to my people at Skunked. But my cart is one of them Aero Pros. I haven't been able to use it for a while, you know what I mean? But I got a Cherry AK cart, and I've been really excited about it because I miss my Aero Pro.
Hey, those Air Pros are pretty smooth.
Fuck yeah, bro. I love them. They're a little on the
cool.
price side. They're a little more expensive than I'd like for them to be, but they work really good. I like it.
Have you ever seen one of these snail brands?
No, I've never seen that before.
It's all small. I like it.
Yeah, that's tight.
Yeah, that's what I like about the fry bar, because I could just palm it and shit. Boom, real quick, like, you know.
Sick.
But I'm smoking on Man of Honor flower joint that I just got from Rocky Mountain Cannabis.
Hell yeah.
And then I'm dabbing some live diamonds. I don't know. There's a bunch of mixtures in there. I can't tell you.
You should
See,
get with
I
those.
just I smash it all together, different hashes, and I put it all together. So there's like 4 different ones in here.
Oh, shit.
Let's
For
get our
those,
on.
well, for those of you who don't know, I'm not your average little smoker. All right. So Doja, last name is Doja for a reason.
Man. Anyways, you should get with them people over there, man. You always bring up that dispensary. You should get with them and see if they could also sponsor on the other side of the border.
I want to tell them. Well, if you guys don't hook up something, I'll just badmouth you guys then.
Dang, snap it. Dang.
I'll tell everybody in town that this place sucks.
On medicine.
Oh fuck! See, that's how you either try to take the nice route with them, but then it's not. You take the other route. You know what I'm saying? Either way, you get hooked up.
Yeah, but I need to get one of those QR code stickers that probably take it in.
Yeah, that'd be tight.
Oh yeah.
And
Hey, I was thinking we should just program the first episode and then it'll go to the playlist.
the way I have it, it goes to the ones that I have here that are with the eyeballs.
With Charles Manson?
Yeah, they go to my page that has all of my shit on there. It has all of my my music thing. Have you not gone to it? You fuck. I sent it to you.
Does it have your only trans page?
No, it's trans only. You got to get it right.
Trans. Damn it. I'm always on bigbootytrans.com.
I want to know about it.
Fuck, you guys are married.
Roman of the week.
Yeah, y'all want to hit this shit real quick or what?
Oh, fuck. Wait, I gotta light my joint. Shit.
Ah, damn. See, you just be running at the lip the whole time. Ready? All right, Graham, ready? It's on you. And that has been this week's Dromant of the Week.
You waited all week to say that, huh?
I did. I've been planning it out.
You're all practicing it. You're in the mirror.
I did twice in the mirror. Once upstairs and once downstairs, just to check it out, you know.
And then did you try it on the kids and the wife too? What do you guys think of this one?
No, they don't care about my ideas.
Freaking kids, huh? My daughter's such a hater. I'll be like, I'll saying something, she just clowns on me. I'm like, thanks a lot. Thanks, Trinity.
I know. I'm like, you know what we're gonna talk about this week, or guess what movie we're gonna talk about, or whatever, right? And they're like, oh, cool. They just keep it moving.
That's what that was about? Oh, okay.
Oh shit. Graham, drop it on us.
No, I was just reading something, and I honestly, I don't know how I missed that. I guess. So I thought Jey Uso was going to fight Logan Paul just because of the attack on Monday, but apparently him and Damian Priest are fighting for the title of the first match of Backlash.
The Logan Paul or fucking
Jey
Uso?
Uso.
Oh, okay.
Oh, because I was scrolling through it because I was like, that has to be a typo as I was looking at the matchups, right?
Yeah.
As we're looking, and I was thinking that has to be a typo, but then I do remember that's what the Fatal 4-Way was about when he won, when Drew McIntyre got screwed by CM Punk.
Oh, okay. Well, let's start from the top then. You want to since Grim was saying it's not the same day, but it's the same day as a lot of the same festivities, right? Of Cinco de Mayo is WWE's Backlash, and
Yeah, same day.
Backlash this year is on the 4th, and it's in France. It's the first pay-per-view ever, or excuse me, I'm sorry, PLE, ever in France. And that's pretty freaking cool, man. I don't know what the time's gonna be here to watch it. It's probably gonna be a weird time. I don't know if we'll be able to watch it in the evening. I think it's gonna be one of the morning times. But first off, this is our first one after the new WWE regime's WrestleMania and our whole new way of doing things now in the wrestling world as far as WWE goes, the Triple H era. And this is kind of freaking cool, man. There's a lot of cool stuff happening, and this is going to be the first fallout from what happened at WrestleMania with Cody finishing his story and the Bloodline having all their craziness going on. Do you want to talk a little bit about the draft first before we get into the actual card? Because they just had the WWE draft the last couple weeks, and that changed things a little bit. We've had some new additions since WrestleMania. We only really do our wrestling shows every month, once a month. So there's kind of a lot to cover in that time frame. But
Okay.
we're gonna condense it as much as possible. Doja, have you seen anything since Mania? Have you watched any videos or anything like that about wrestling?
Mud wrestling.
Great, great, great. I'm glad. So we don't have to catch you up on that much then, right?
Jello wrestling. Apex wrestling. All right.
We're just plugging everything today.
All right.
So basically they don't give the like first night draft or the first round, second round, third round like how they've been doing. They hold on a sec.
Well, as far as the draft goes, I don't think there was anything that was that earth-shattering or whatever that really switched everything all up and threw everything in a whirlwind. I think everything kind of stayed pretty much the same as far as the main storylines go. Um, but as far as like some of the contender matches, like you were just getting into, that kind of stuff is what's different right now, right?
Now some people switch brands. So like, I mean, obviously the first round, I do know CM Punk was the first pick for Raw. It was with Adam Pearce and Cody Rhodes doing the draft picks, and so anyways, obviously on Raw you have
Cody
Jake.
Rhodes was doing draft picks?
Yeah, he was representing the SmackDown brand, and Adam
Why?
Pearce.
Because Nick Aldis wasn't able to be there, or what?
I don't know. I kind of like how they do it. You know what I mean? With Cody Rhodes, it's like Triple H, and Cody Rhodes had a lot to do with AEW. I feel like that was a lot of its early success because he was a behind the scenes guy. He wasn't just on the TV. I think that's what made his character grow so much. It's what made him so good, and why people want to see him finish his story is because he's not just that guy that's just on TV and doing cutting promos. he writes and he's behind the scenes and he helps produce and he does a lot of things. So I mean, on Raw, it gives a list. So uh, you got Damian Priest, who's the world champion, Becky Lynch, the women's champion, the Intercontinental champion, Sami Zayn, the world tag team champions are the Awesome Truth, the Miz and R-Truth, Jey Uso, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, who he actually shifted brands because he went to SmackDown. You got Liv Morgan, Ricochet, Sheamus, who switched brands, Alpha Academy, who's Chad Gable, Otis, Akira Tozawa, and Maxine Dupree, Kiana James, who switched brands, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Alba Fire, and Isla Khan, who switched brands, Ivar, Imperium, which is Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser since they just kicked out Vinci, Damage Control, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, and the women's tag team champions, Asuka and Kairi Sane, CM Punk, Braun Strowman, who switched brands. Oh, and Damage Control switched brands. The LWO, who switched brands, which is Rey Mysterio, Zelina Vega, Joaquin Wilde, Cruz del Toro, and I don't know if Carlito's still part of the LWO, but he's listed here as part of the Raw brand, given the circumstances. Drew McIntyre, the Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough. Ilya Dragunov.
Ilya Dragunov, yeah, he's dope.
Switch brands. The New Day, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Lyra Valkyria, she switched brands. The Final Testament, which is Karrion Kross, Scarlett, Akam, Rezar, and Paul Eller, who switched brands. Bronson Reed, Natalia, Caden Carter, and Katana Chance. Odyssey Jones, D-Jack, who's switched brands. Julius Creed, Brutus Creed, and Ivy Nile. New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne, and Tyler Bate, who switched brands. And for the SmackDown roster, we have Cody Rhodes, the Universal Champion. The Women's Champion is Bayley. United States Champion Logan Paul. The WWE Tag Team Champions A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. We have Bianca Belair, Carmelo Hayes, switch brands, Randy Orton, Nia Jax, who switched brands, LA Knight, The Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, and Tama Tonga, and Paul Heyman is all that's listed under the Bloodline. AJ Styles, Andrade, who is switched brands. He also signed to SmackDown, like I stated that to Raw, like I stated, Braun Breaker went to SmackDown. You have the OC, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Mi Chin. You have Baron Corbin, who switched brands. And when I say switch brands, they didn't all just go from Raw or SmackDown. Some of these people, like Baron Corbin, came from NXT. So you have Cedric Alexander and Ashanti the Adonis, Jade Cargill, Kevin Owens, The Pride, which is Bobby Lashley, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, and B-Fab. You have Tiffany Stratton, Legado del Fantasma, which is Santos Escobar's group, and Angel, Berto, and Elektra Lopez. Shinsuke Nakamura, who also switched brands. Naomi, Chelsea Green, and Piper Niven, who also switched brands. And you have Pretty Deadly, Elton Prince, and Kit Wilson. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, the Iconics, they used to be the Iconics with Matt Cardona, right?
No. The Iconics were two different chicks. They're not with the company anymore. I don't even think one of them's wrestling anymore.
Well, anyways, they switched brands. DIY, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano, they switched brands. They're going by like DX now. I don't know if you saw that. That's pretty dope because of the whole R-Truth thing.
Yeah.
And it's dope because they they both got trained by Shawn Michaels basically in NXT because Shawn Michaels runs the behind the scenes, and he's part of creative. You got Blair Davenport who switched shows, Apollo Crews who switched shows, Giovanni Vinci. Oh, he's on SmackDown now. See, he switched shows. Tegan Fox switched shows, and that's the SmackDown roster.
Does it show any free agents? Because I'm sure all of our wrestling fans that are paying attention, they noticed a few names that you didn't mention there.
I know, like Roman Reigns, it's still up in the air about him.
And Brock Lesnar, who's apparently still with the company too.
The Brock thing, yeah, I did hear that. I heard he might make a return still. So
I'm hearing rumors that it may be at this Backlash event in France.
to be honest, if they do, I don't think they would list them because Roman and Brock, I think, are going to be surprise entrances, just like we've been talking about.
I agree. That's why I was wondering if they had it posted anywhere.
No, he just tells you at the end of the article who all came up from NXT, which there's 7 of the people I named came up from the NXT roster, so being called to the main roster, which was Carmelo Hayes, Baron Corbin, Kiana James, Dragunov, Valkyria, D-Jack, Blair Davenport.
So Dijak or Dijak, whatever, and Baron Corbin have already been on the main roster. So this is their return to the main roster. Hopefully we get some more cool stuff out of Corbin, man. Like, I really like that dude. I think he's had a few shit gimmicks and made the best of it, you know what I mean, and done pretty well with it still and gotten successful, gotten them over. So I hope whatever he gets into next. I haven't been watching, so I don't know. I don't know what he's doing now. He may be doing some badass shit right now. But I hope whatever he gets his most time with going forward is pretty badass because he deserves some cool shit. He's been around for a while. He's one of the workhorses, I think, that's kind of underutilized and disrespected, if I do say so myself.
Honestly, for now, I feel like Baron Corbin, because I never really liked him. I don't feel the same way you do about him, but I get what you're saying, that he does make the best of it. But I feel like in his situation, where he would benefit is with Final Testament, dude, with Karrion Kross and that crew. Not only does he have the look to be with that group, but I think it would be good for him to be in a group storyline. That way he can learn from other wrestlers and get boosted back up in the main roster. You know what I mean?
No, I like that. That's pretty good, man. I think that would be a great fit for him. I had never thought of that. So, we'll see what happens. That would be some pretty cool fantasy booking right there. Doge, you still with us?
Yeah. Does
Right on.
Does it look a little different?
Yeah, a little bit. I like it. It looks a little more professional.
Hey, you want to know what this picture behind me? It's
What is
soundproof. It's studio foam. Soundproof foam. Have you seen those?
I haven't seen it like the picture like that, but I've seen it where it's just like a textured piece of wall, you know what I mean? Like, or whatever. I've seen that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was like, I think 18 pieces to put this that I had to keep calling Trinity in here to help me put this shit together because it was confusing. Nah, but I thought that was kind of cool though, like some soundproof foam. I was like, oh, that's pretty tight. It's come a long way since we started with the egg. What was it? The egg cartons.
Yeah.
Mattresses. Yeah, styrofoam boots.
And Styrofoam Booth is out right now on my SoundCloud for those that want to peep that out, just so you know. Anyway,
I'm in the spot. I'm in the studio. This where it's at. This, see right here's the computer. Got the widescreen. And then basically, and then the mic and everything's right there. Yeah. I usually don't blaze out. I usually blaze out in the garage. I don't like to smoke out in the house, in the room. But yeah.
I feel that. I feel that. Thank you for showing us the what are you calling it now? It's not because you're not really the drunken master anymore. What is this? Is this dope?
I'm trying to become like a monk now.
Well,
No, I haven't drank since December.
that's pretty good, man. Proud of you.
Yeah. I mean, I have alcohol. I have bottles like right there, but just
Yeah.
I haven't been drunk in years too. So
But what would we call that? Because that's not drunken studios anymore. What is it?
the media headquarters, the whole media.
The media headquarters. Okay, I like that. That's cool. Duly noted.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, and that should be a common funny thing with us. No matter where we're at, location, we still podcast. Because
Yep.
we're always switching up locations.
yeah,
Yep.
there's a lot of changes.
Right.
Never
Oh.
a dull moment for our audiences.
Yeah. They'll be like, we never know where they're gonna be.
So, Doja, you have any before we get into the rest of the card and our picks and stuff like that? You want to talk about like France for a second? Like how would you ever go if you had the chance? Obviously, if it was a trip that fell into your lap, I'm sure you'd take it. But is France anywhere near your bucket list?
Yeah, because I want to experience. I want to go and give some French women the French kisses. You know what I'm saying?
I was
have
afraid
some
of that.
have some fresh French bread. Have some have some fresh French fries.
So anyway, Cinco de Mayo's on Saturday, so go downtown, get your grub on.
Oh man, right? Go,
But
yeah,
for real,
especially if you're in Denver. They do a little funny thing over here too, but they call it Fiesta Weekend. They do like a little parade, and then they have like food and uh cornrow and like party. They have a hippie drum circle, then you see the hippies all dancing with their hairy armpits. Like, maybe I could try to get some footage this year. Maybe I'll say, hold up, media. We're just documenting to this is gonna be everywhere. And I say, oh yeah, go ahead.
sounds like your guys' Bigfoot episode.
Oh man. Did you guys watch that video from the Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, dude. That shit had me dying, man. Hmm. Oh, speaking of that, I think we're gonna premiere the first, like, it's the 20-minute introduction video Saturday. So I'll probably set it for like 7 o'clock. Damn it. I'm dying over here.
Well, and
So
after this,
yeah.
I wanted to talk about maybe recording the first set.
Hold on, Grim. Try talking now when he's not coughing, because he's jacking you all up.
I said after the show we'll talk. I wanted to see if maybe you wanted to record the first episode on Saturday, Sabado.
What?
Sabato.
All right.
Well, we'll plug all those here at the end and shit anyway. But let's go ahead and
Okay.
get into this card, Grim, so we can make our picks.
Well, like I said before, and I know, like I said, I wasn't trying to get into it so fast. It's just I thought at first it was a misprint because Logan Paul at the end of Raw basically almost punked Jey Uso and Patrick Mahomes jumped in for the save. So
Patrick Mahomes, how cool is that? Getting the Super Bowl MVP on board in WWE. That's pretty cool.
yeah, they punked JD McDonough too. And
I don't like Mahomes. I mean, this is Broncos country, but still.
I actually like him because he's my favorite quarterback in the league. I think
You
he's
would.
and
You would.
I'm a Broncos fan, okay, for those of you who don't know. But
No, you're not.
now, unbiasedly, I do like Mahomes as a quarterback, and I wish Denver could get him, honestly. That would freaking put us on.
Oh, hell no. I would throw up. It would make me sick.
Uh,
Don't you dare
So,
put that bad juju on us.
first is Damian Priest and Jey Uso for the heavyweight title.
Oops.
Honestly,
Okay.
I think Priest is going to keep it.
All right, I'm making our little list right here. Damian Priest and Jey Uso. Yeah, I don't think that they would take the title off of Priest that quickly. You know what I mean? And I definitely
Yeah,
don't think that Jey Uso as champion is where it's at right now. You know what I mean? I think he's better with the chase. So I think that it's gonna stay with Damian also. Doja, what you got? Damian Priest or Jey Uso?
Damien,
For sure.
you know why I picked that name?
Yeah. All right, Grim, what's next?
the second match is the undisputed Universal Champion Cody Rhodes versus AJ. Now, this one's going to be dope because both these guys were in the Bullet Club, and they had this whole promo where they both showed respect aggressively, but still respecting each other.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely think Cody Rhodes is keeping the title on this one.
Yeah, same thing, man. I don't think that they're gonna take the title off of Cody that quickly. You know what I mean? They're not gonna have him finish his story and then lose it right away. So I definitely think that he's gonna keep it. But man, this has potential to be the freaking best match in a long time, man. AJ looks great. He's doing great work. You know, I like AJ as a heel. I like him better as a face, but I like him as a heel. We'll see what happens. You know, I think it has all the potential of being something badass. And I forgot about the whole Bullet Club connection, like you talked about. So thank you for bringing that up.
So
Those,
honestly, here I just want to bring up because for those of you who don't know, there's been a big feud going on with LA Knight and AJ Styles, and I feel there might be something with LA Knight happening this night that's
some
gonna
kind of interference.
like.
Okay, we might see a run in, huh? All right.
No, I think we might see a disqualification as opposed to a legitimate loss. Is
Yeah,
what
yeah, yeah. I get it. Yeah,
that
that definitely seems like a good possibility. Doja, who you got, Cody or AJ?
AJ.
You're going with AJ?
Yeah.
All right. And just so y'all know, we're just over an hour. So,
Oh, really?
What you?
yep.
What?
Dang. Then there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more matches to cover.
Cool. Let's do it kind of quickly because we got 20 minutes.
Okay, so the next match is the WWE Women's Championship, which is Bailey versus Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi. It's a triple threat match. Honestly, on this one, I'm not going to say every champion's going to retain at this point. I think it's a possibility Tiffany Stratton's going to take it on this one. They've been really promoting her, and I think people were shocked she didn't get it in the Women's Battle Royal.
Uh, is she your pick?
Yeah.
You're gonna go with Tiff. Wow. Okay. Um, I think that they're definitely gearing towards something big with her eventually, but I don't think it's her time yet. I don't think that she's ready yet for the title. I think she's the one that's probably going to end up taking the pin, to be honest with you, because I don't think it'll hurt her. I think it would hurt Naomi's momentum if she took the fall, because she just came back. She needs to have a strong showing as a veteran anyway. But I don't think that Bailey's going to drop it, to be honest with you. If they did have Bailey drop it, I would be sad because I think that should be a different feud. But we'll see.
Bailey opted to have this match because her and Naomi are close friends. So
Yeah,
Tiffany
yeah,
Stratton
so,
was only in the match because she forced her way in, and due to her rising popularity, it became, and she continues to be a thorn in both their sides. That's how she got into the match.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but I'm sticking with Bailey. Who you got, Doja? Bailey, Naomi, or Tiff? Tiffy time.
Tiff, because she makes me stiff.
Okay. All right, who's next, Grim?
It's the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. The Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. And I definitely think the powerhouses are going to take it. I think that the Kabuki Warriors are going to lose it. So I think that they're building up this tension within Damage Control at some point that they're going to start taking away their titles,
Wow. I hear what you're saying, and I think you might be right, but I hope not, to be honest with you. I hope that oh shit. I don't want to see them drop the belts, but I know that they're building up to this Jade and Bianca feud eventually. But I
Yeah.
think they're gonna give them a run as tag champs and stuff first, So I think that is gonna happen. And I just don't want it to happen right now, to be honest with you. I wanted them to chase for a little bit still. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Maybe like some kind of a screwy finish to where it's like a DQ somehow or something where they're still chasing. I don't want them to turn and have their feud with each other yet, but I don't want them to have their title run yet either. I like the Kabuki Warriors as champs, and I like Damage Control having these belts like they do. I think it's kind of creating something pretty cool there. I think if you were to take some of those championships out of that group, it would fuck that group up a little bit. I think it would diminish it some.
So
And I don't think that that's necessary right now.
Damage Control has been the top women's team basically for like the last 2-3 years, and Bailey was the biggest factor in that. And now that Bailey's out of it, and I do see it evolving into something else, but I feel like that the reason why I think that it's okay that they lose the titles is because they have been the dominant women's team for almost 2 years.
Yeah, I get it. I get it for sure. But I want that to continue under this new regime. Because now it's like once Mania came, it was like that was the official time when Bailey was on her own now. You know what I mean? And all of that kind of stuff. So I think all of this build up until that point, she was still in limbo with them. She was the leader of them. Like there was that whole storyline. So it's like a whole new chapter of the storyline. And I want them to be strong on their own. You know what I mean? And not for it to be a part of her faction.
Bringing up WrestleMania, they did beat them at WrestleMania with King Coda with Damage Control and Naomi with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill.
Yeah, I know, but they got made a fool. They like whooped it. They got their ass whooped. So I want them to look strong over these chicks because these chicks are badass, and I don't want them to.
And I love them.
Look
I
sloppy
love them.
or fucked up either. Like I want them to look strong in it. I want them to protect them in it. Where it doesn't take away from their momentum either. That's why I think it should be a weird screwy finish. So we'll have to find out. But I'm gonna stay with the Kabuki Warriors. I hope they pull it through. Who are you gonna go with?
Kabuki.
Kabuki for Doja. What did you say, Grim? Jade and Bianca.
Yeah.
All right. Jim's.
I picked Kabuki because it rhymes with coochie.
I figured as much.
So the next match is Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. I'm definitely going with I'm gonna go with Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga on this one because he brought in Tama Tonga because he was saying that there has to be repercussions for losses, and they kicked Jimmy Uso out of the Bloodline, right? Solo's an over 40 match losing streak, so I don't think they're going to make them lose on this one because it would defeat the purpose of bringing Tama Tonga in.
Oh yeah, I agree 1,000%. You can't just start this whole new chapter of the Bloodline and start it off with the loss. That's what they used to do, when Vince was still in power. When they would start some cool shit with Wyatt or somebody like that, and then they'd have them lose the feud. Like what the fuck,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it kills all the momentum. And it just takes away all of that suspension of disbelief, because then they're not a viable threat. You know what I mean? Or anything like that.
Yeah, if
So,
they lose their first match in, exactly what you said, they're not a viable threat.
so I'm definitely going with Solo and Tama, but I do want to see some cool shit out of KO and Randy, because they're cool. I like seeing the chemistry that they have together.
I do too.
They're pretty badass. So I hope maybe this is another screwy finish where it doesn't necessarily need somebody to go over per se. So I don't know, but I definitely know if it does come to a pinfall and somebody goes over, it needs to be Solo and Tama. What you got, Doja? Solo and Tama or KO and Randy?
KO.
KO?
Yeah.
Next is the Intercontinental Championship with Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable. So, honestly, in this one, it's hard to say because I want Sammy to win. I think he is going to win, but Chad Gable, they're doing this heel run with him, right? He's about to do a turn. So I don't know if with the turn they're going to give him the belt. It's kind of that tricky situation.
Bro, Sammy already got his moment. I don't even think he should have been the guy to take over Gunther. Y'all know how I felt about that one. But I'm telling you, I think Sammy had his time. That's all it needed to be. He doesn't need it any further. Now he needs to put somebody else over. He's already as over as he's going to be. He doesn't need the belt anymore. But Chad, on the other hand, he could benefit from being the fucking champ. You know what I mean? So let this dude take it. Let him be a dominant heel champ. Let him show his fucking skills. Let him be like a little mini Kurt Angle and kick some ass. And
That reminds me of.
yeah, and let it be, and let it be, and let us see what actually could happen with Gable, because there's been years now where there's been this tease with this guy where he could be one of the next great stars, but they don't put the fucking rocket on him and don't give him a shot. So let's see what happens. I think it's time for Chad Gable to sink or swim. This is his year.
I think he is going to win too. Like I said, I want Sammy to win, but I think it's going to be Chad. But to be honest with what you said about Sammy, like I said before, I think he looks like how people personify Jesus. Gunther reminds me of with the German and all of that stuff. People personify that as very evil. So that reminds me of like devilish. He even kind of looks like it sometimes. But he had a 666-day title reign.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's crazy.
that's why they did all of that at the time that they did, for like subliminal.
Well, as long as good conquers evil, I'm cool with it. But either way, I think it's time for Sammy to pass on the ship to the next guy.
Yeah.
Who you got, Doja? Sammy or Chad?
Chad.
All right.
Chad, because he's
Two
rad.
We're down to the last matches. Okay, last two.
All right.
We got the SmackDown WWE Tag Team Champions, the A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller versus the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. I honestly think A-Town Down Under is going to retain because they're going to let him run with it.
I honestly don't think that they need it either. That A-Town Down Under. I think that they're kind of, man, I think they're kind of lame, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not an Austin Theory guy, like I've said in past episodes. And this other dude, this Grayson Waller, I mean, he's too new for me. I haven't had enough exposure to him to really have a good take on him one way or the other. But I think that the Street Profits need some momentum. I think they need some shit to really put a spark under this whole new faction with Lashley, the Pride. I think they need something. And maybe these belts could be that. Maybe that could be where it's at. I don't know if they've been champs before. I feel like they have, the Street Profits. I'm pretty sure they've been champs on SmackDown and Raw now that I think about it. But I think they need something, So I'm hoping that that's gonna be it because I'm not too big of a fan of the other two guys, So I would be cool with the title change right here. In fact, that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with the Profits in a dominant win over these Lalas from down under.
Who you got?
What? Oh,
The Street Profits or A-Town down under, Doja?
down under.
Oh, I thought he had something tight to say with that.
No, so next.
Who did you have, Grim?
Oh, I said A-Town down under.
Oh, you're going with them fucks too, damn.
I told you because I think they're gonna give it to him. And now the next match, which is the Raw Tag Team Championships, the Awesome Truth, Miz and R-Truth versus DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I want DIY to win. I think Awesome Truth is gonna retain though, because what I think people want to see more of is Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa go back to their feud like what they had in NXT. A lot of people saying that was one of the best matches NXT ever had and one of the better feuds is because they're brothers,
They're not brothers.
Oh, I thought they were.
No. They're just homeboys. In fact, they never even teamed together until WWE because they both had like long. I don't know how long at least, but I know they had some pretty strong indie runs before this, especially Johnny Gargano. He was Johnny Wrestling before he ever came to WWE. So yeah, him and Ciampa, they just hooked up once they came here to the company. So. But I personally feel like I don't think that it's time for them to feud again yet. They're kind of like those two remind me a lot of how KO and Sammy are. How they're like always these best friends, but then they go in these feuds with each other, you know what I mean? In and out of shit like that. Those kind of storylines. So I don't feel like it's time for them to cycle back and to start feuding with each other again yet. I think people are liking this second run of DIY on the main roster. I think it's their second run on the main roster, and with this whole DX element that they added in with it, I think it makes it fun and it makes it cool. You know what I mean? So I think that they're cool to stay like that for a while. And honestly, I feel like as much as I don't want them to, I feel like because they're on that momentum of the whole DX thing and shit like that, that they'll probably end up winning. And I think that they'll probably take the belts here. And it makes me sad because I don't want the Awesome Truth to lose it. I like Truth as a champ. Miz is pretty cool. You know what I mean? I've my respect for Miz has grown a lot over the past decade or so. So I don't really want to see them drop it, but they don't really need it. Hopefully, no matter what Truth does is always tight. No matter what Miz does is always tight. So, I know they'll be fine. But I think DIY kind of needs it, to be honest with you. I think they could benefit a lot from the belts right now. So I'm gonna go with DIY for the win.
I like them too, but that DIY is only doing the DX thing because of R-Truth. You kept
Yeah.
calling Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Oh, that's so funny. R-Truth is gold, man. That dude is wrestling gold right there.
Doja,
But
you got
what's
the Awesome Truth or DIY?
the Awesome Truth? Because that's what I do when I release in the booth.
There he goes. Who did you have, Grim? DIY?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with DIY.
All right. And is that all of it? Is that the last
Yeah.
match? Okay, so those are all of our picks for Backlash 2024 in France, and I guess we'll find out this weekend, and we'll go over our winnings next week on the show.
I want to touch on the return to CM Punk.
Yep.
And how he freaking because obviously he's my favorite for a while. How he tricked Drew McIntyre, basically had him go up to his booth because he started off in the booth talking to Drew. Drew went up there to beat him up, and then he's in the ring, and he did another pipe bomb, basically smashing Drew. Did you see it, Remo?
I didn't get to see any of this stuff at all, so I'm gonna have to check it out on some of these highlights. But man, I'm excited for it because everything that Drew is doing right now is just awesome. And Punk, ever since he came back, has been on fire. So they're not missing. They're hitting on all cylinders. So it's fun to watch. And even if it is like I have to do sometimes, with this recaps and highlights and stuff like that, it still keeps me very much entertained. So I appreciate the hard work that they're putting in right now. It's some good stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys want to get into before we start wrapping up here? You guys want to get into what you got coming up here soon?
What?
Yeah, Doja, QU, ding 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 ding.
So we got it'll be the first it'll probably premiere Saturday. It'll be like the first episode. Basically it's just like an introduction episode of what we'll be covering in the future episodes. I'm actually messing around with it right now, editing it on the computer. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty wild. We're gonna see how long it takes us to get thrown off and people pissed off. But yeah, it should be an interesting time.
Halfway joking.
uh,
Thanks, great.
yeah.
When I could put out information and he can have that joking attitude, and it's a lot like, I mean, I'm not saying we're exactly like that, but the dynamic is going to be more like the Y-Files for any of those who basically watched my old podcast, Esoterror. This is going to be a little different because it is going to have that light with heavy, basically.
Right. It's gonna be a lot of information and a lot of smart assing too. Because hey, for all you kids out there, it's better to be a smart ass than a dumbass. So you pick and choose which one you want to be. I got that. I got that knowledge from an old boss I had working for the schools.
Wise words. That's our education system at its finest, right there. These guys have that coming up. Be on the lookout for it. I know they're both going to be adding lots of new content to both of their respective channels. I know Grim is starting to get some stuff in the works for his channel too. He's going to be putting up here eventually. So there's a lot of cool stuff in the works here, man. The Dro Bros are ever evolving and getting our feet wet in other ventures. Some of our own specific interests and stuff like that. And I think it's pretty cool, man. I love to see it happen. I love to see all the creativity around us. It's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of inspiration to go around here, Speaking of inspiration, go ahead. What was that?
Oh no, I was just saying, for people to check out like all the platforms too. We're gonna start hitting everywhere, like Instagram, the Facebooks, obviously YouTube. Like we're gonna just start flooding it with everything. From Dro Bros to what's that called to who knows what's next. I mean, we got albums coming out. Me and Remo been doing music, been our passion for I don't know how many years now. It's something in the soul. Right?
Exactly. Like I was saying, how it's all very inspirational. Excuse me. This other show that I started with the Vicious Interviews, telling all these different people that I'm connected with and their inspirational stories and sharing them with you all. There was no episode this week, as most of y'all have noticed already. I did have one lined up, but it kind of fell through last minute, so we just decided to go without this week, and we'll pick it back up again this next week. I have some very interesting people in the works and some really good stuff, some really cool stories, and I expect a lot of big things from it. I think a lot of people are going to be inspired by some of these stories, and that's the whole purpose of it all. So I'm excited for that. And like Doja was touching on earlier with our music, I was just in the studio again today with the Martian, Norm Marsh here, my homeboy, and we were slapping on some dope shit again. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming out. I know Doja's working on a lot of stuff with his camp there. My album is just a track away to being done. So there's a lot of things in the works here. So stay tuned. And also, we do have this spiritual journey show coming along as well that we've discussed earlier with Grim and some of our other spiritual brothers. Hopefully, we could get some of their introductions here pretty soon. So I look forward to that as well. So if you all have any suggestions for our artist profiles or for our movie reviews or any other kind of reviews, we're open to all of it. So put them in the comments. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials. Check out our music on all of our different platforms. Give us likes, shares, comments. Make sure you subscribe on everything possible. What else, guys? What am I forgetting?
I think you covered it, honestly.
All right. Well, that sounds good to me. For the Dro Bro Show, this has been episode 10. It's a big one. I can't believe we're already 10 episodes deep. This shit just keeps fucking getting further and further away from us. It's a trip. But thank y'all for sticking with us. And we'll see you again next week. Dro Bros out.
Bye,
We
guys.
out. One love.
Thank you, everybody, for peeping out the Dro Bro Show. Please don't forget to follow on all socials for all three of us and subscribe.